Assalamu alaikum dear students. Before taking the next part of this lesson, I am going to repeat some important pointers that will help you to understand this lesson. Pappachi's Moth, which is written by Arundhati Rai. Moth is an insect which has wings that is similar to butterfly. It is smaller than the butterfly. It is attracted to light. And dear students, you must remember this Pappachi was an imperial entomologist. Entomologist means a scientist who deals with the insects. A new species was discovered by him, that was moth. When the British left from India, his designation was changed from imperial entomologist to joint director. Finally, he retired as a director from this department. Pappachi was a man of cruel nature who beat his wife mercilessly and ruthlessly with a brass flower vase. Moreover, he was jealous of her growing popularity in her small business. He was very envious of her beauty and youth, as she was 17 years younger than Pappachi. Whereas Mamachi, she started her small business. She was making pickles and jam. It was because of her hard work that her small business flourished at a large scale. She proved herself to be a determined and resilient woman. She bore all kinds of cruelty patiently, and she never complained about it to anyone, even though she was beaten by her husband mercilessly. After this event, dear students, when Pappachi was stopped by his son from beating his wife, and that is why from that event he looked very sad. For the rest of the day, Pappachi sat in the veranda and stared stonily out at the ornamental garden, ignoring the plates of the food that Kucho Maria brought him. For the rest of the day, Pappachi sat in the veranda, and from where he was looking towards the ornamental garden, and what manner he was looking. Stonily means, and in that means sadly, ignoring the plates of food that Kucho Maria brought him. Now, there was not a good relationship between husband and wife. That is why the food of plates which was brought by the Kucho Maria was their a servant. And late at night, what happened, he went into his room. Who went? Pappachi, and brought out his favorite mahogany rocking chair, which was brought by him, and he put it down in the center, in the middle of the road, and it was smashed. It was broken by him into little bits with a plumper's monkey wrench, and he left it there in the moonlight, a heap of varnished wicker. Wicker says when is kanyo kursi as benamas. Varnished means go varnish karitas and splintered wood. He never touched Mamaji again. Who Pappachi, after this event, neither he spoke nor touched her as long as he lived. When Pappachi needed anything, and it was brought by the Kucho Maria or the baby Kuchuma. Intermediaries was middleman, link man. It can wana says says मतलब इस दोन दरमियान so कांच चीज इस message पकनाए that carry the message by someone. He is called intermediary, link man, middleman. In the evenings when he knew visitors were expected. Who knew? Pappachi knew that visitors were expected, and he would sit in the veranda and sew buttons that were not missing on his shirt, that were intact. So button lagawa shirt. Actually, button isn't that missing. The buttons were intact. But you must know why he was going to do so. He was going to do so in order to spoil the image of his wife before the guests. Use his image kharab kare. I mean, guests, visitors आई तिमन broken. To create the impression that Mamaji neglected him, that he was not cared by his wife. To some small degree, he did succeed in furthering corroding views of working wives. Not only he was going to spoil the image of his wife, but he spoiled the image of every working woman of AMNM. He bought the sky bulai moth from an old English man in Munnar. Who bought? Pappachi bought a big car, and he became a familiar sight. Pappachi became a famous sight in AMNM, coasting importantly down the narrow road in his wide car. He was traveling in his wide car, in his big car, through the narrow road, looking outwardly elegant means beautiful, but sweating freely inside in his woolen suit. But his body was full of perspiration, sweating, because he had worn which suit? woolen suits in the summer. He would not allow Mamaji or anyone else in the family to use it or even to sit in it. None of his family members and even his wife, she was not allowed to use it or even to sit in this car. The Plymouth was a Pappachi's revenge. Revenge means vengeance after this event when he was stopped by his son. Pappachi had been an imperial entomologist at the Posha Institute. After independence, when the British left, his designation was changed from imperial entomologist to joint director. Pappachi had been an imperial entomologist. Entomologist means a scientist who deals with the insects, and at which institute he was working? At the Posha Institute. After independence, when the British left from India, and his designation means cadre, which was changed from imperial entomologist to joint director. Designation changed, joint director. Entomology. The year he retired, he had risen to the rank equivalent to the director. In though he retired, equivalent to the director. Who? Pappachi. Thank you.